I just wanted to give you guys a quick reminder before the video starts. Make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications for future updates on content and videos of that sort. Also, make sure you join the Discord server through the link in the top comment or description. And without further ado, enjoy the video. Hello everyone, my name is Kaiju Cooper, and today we are taking a look at the More Than Meets the Eye collection Transformers Devastation Ground Soldier and Elite Seeker 2-pack. These two are generic enemies from the video game Transformers Devastation, which was released about 10 years ago, so it's kind of odd that we're getting figures for it now. But I digress. We'll get more into these figures later, because first we're going to take a look at the packaging here. Very nice box here. You can kind of see my reflection right there. Very nice box. As you can see, it's done mostly in this black and red color scheme. Taking a look at the front here, there is the nice windowed packaging back again. You got a nice Transformers Devastation logo there. This is part of the Studio Series line. This is not part of Age of the Primes or anything like that. This is part of the More Than Meets the Eye collection. So basically, this simply just means that these are Target exclusives. That's the only place you're going to be able to find them in person. You could order them online through Hasbro Pulse, but that is the only other option. Some very nice art of both of the figures here. You get the Ground Soldier on this side and the Elite Seeker on this side. Top of the box, you get the Transformers Devastation logo, some more logos here. You get some nice screenshots of them from the game here and a little bio. These two Decepticons enjoy blowing things up and smashing them to pieces. It's the lamest goddamn bio I've ever heard in my whole life. Authentic Transformers logo. That's pretty much it for the box. You get art of each respective character on each side with the Autobot logo, even though these are Decepticons, but it doesn't matter. Bringing the figures back in a frame here, I think we'll start with the least interesting of the two, that being the Elite Seeker. I do like this figure quite a bit. There's a couple stability issues, which I will get to later, but this is obviously just another modified Earthrise Conehead. There's been quite a few releases. I have a couple myself. Here, I think this is definitely one of the better decos we've gotten for this figure. Paint job here is really nice. I noticed that a lot of Transformers figures usually look way better when they're done in darker black color schemes, and I think that applies here. As you can see, they all share the same mold. They all look pretty good together. You know, they're a proper team, I guess. But you can really see how much darker his color scheme is in comparison to the color schemes here. These are very bright and loud, but that's mainly because they're G2. But a couple things do stand out with the deco here as well. The silver face really pops against the black instead of the details of the face kind of being lost against a much brighter color scheme. So I do think this is definitely a good deco. Thankfully, this figure doesn't fall into the category of being too dark. It is still broken up very nicely between the grays and the blacks here. The red dyes also do help break up the color scheme here as well. That orange here does really pop out, especially with that little bit of cell shading you get on the cockpit there. Now, unfortunately, because this is the Earthrise Seeker mold, if you turn it to the back, there's some pretty nasty kibble back here. I mean, the back profile is just not very clean. Make me mad is you bring in the original Seeker mold here. The nose cone is one thing. That's kind of always been a problem with this figure, but the reason these two particular extra panels, these are full-on wings. There's a reason the hinges are here. This isn't back kibble. This is part of the figure's design and silhouette. Looking at this figure, the nose cone is one thing, but these panels stick out and really just make the figure a worse product overall. Viewing that back profile, you have these two struts sticking out. It's no longer part of the character design anymore, and that's my main problem with those two pieces there. It's not a deal breaker, but it's kind of just a lazy retooling on Hasbro's part. This is just an integral problem with all versions of this Conehead mold, so it's kind of annoying. I really wish they would have put in more effort when retooling this to give it a cleaner back profile. Now, before I go over the accessories, I would like to do the articulation. It is the same as the other Earthrise Seekers. You get a nice ball joint at the head here. All the joints on this figure are really tight. Some are a little bit too tight. I don't know if people have the same issue, but it can swivel very roughly. It's a very tight joint. You get that much look up, not really any look down. Arms go out, full 360 rotation there. There's a swivel at the bicep. There is a single jointed elbow, and the wrist can hinge up for the transformation. No wrist swivel, no waist swivel either due to the transformation. His crotch flap flips up for good kick out. He can do the splits. Not very well. You do get a thigh swivel there and a nice knee bend. There's a good ankle tilt. It's pretty decent, but that's really about it for this figure. There are a couple stability issues. I don't know how my figure was assembled, but you'll notice that the thigh here is splitting and you can see the darker plastic underneath. I don't know how well that's gonna hold up, but considering that this is pinned in and I can't unscrew it to fix it, that kind of pisses me off a little bit. Another thing here is that with the knee bend, it's not the most stable. Or, okay, now you're going to be stable for the camera. I see how it is, dick. All I was trying to say is that when I try to articulate the knee, this tab slot connection here at the front of the knee pad will have trouble staying closed whenever I try and articulate it. It's working fine now, so whatever, I guess. Taking a look at his accessories, you do get some nice silver null rays here. Very, very bright. They are very shiny. I don't know if these are just especially shiny, if they use a different kind of silver, but I really, really like the way that this deco looks for these null rays here. Pretty simple accessories. 5mm ports, you can plug them into other Transformers. They can hold them as just regular guns. You get a pair of swords here, which are very reminiscent of Optimus Primal swords. These are game accurate, but I think they're still a reference to Optimus Primal swords regardless. Very nice. They just plug right into the hands. They are done in a very nice silver paint as well. They don't pop as nice as the null rays though. I don't know what's up with that. He holds those. He looks great. Definitely how I'm going to be displaying my figure. It definitely helps him differentiate from the other Seekers a lot more. You can't pull off too many poses with him. That's mainly due to his lack of waist swivel and wrist swivels. Now here is Elite Seeker in his jet mode. I think this looks pretty nice. The gray here is not broken up as nicely as it is in the robot mode. That cell shaded window at the front really pulls through. That nice yellow streak there really makes that pop. Love that shade of orange that they picked. It's a very nice looking jet mode, although this does bring up a couple of problems. On my copy specifically, this figure has so many stability issues with a lot of the panels that you need to flip around and use to transform him into his jet mode. And the whole transformation feels very creaky, and I don't know if it's just a particular problem with my copy or it's just from mold degradation because this figure's been used so many times across the past couple of years. Bringing this into jet mode, you really start to see how much more like dull the colors are, because now it's kind of just this sea of gray. Another problem with this whole 2-pack is that there's an insane lack of cell shading for a game that is mostly well known for its art style. This has kind of been a problem with all the Transformers Devastation figures, not that we have that many. They're not cell shading these figures very well. And I think that's a shame because Hasbro has proved before that they can cell shade figures. I mean, you look at the 35th anniversary Optimus Prime here, beautifully cell shaded figure. This is what most of the Devastation figures should look like. You know, the textures and the cell shading are really what made Transformers Devastation special and made it stand out from the other Transformers games. But now before we move on to the Ground Trooper, I would like to do individual ratings for both figures and then rate the pack overall. So for this figure here, I say he is a good solid 6 out of 10. I think robot mode is really where this figure shines, along with the accessories and the general color breakup. Very, very good robot mode. Not a horrible figure, still pretty solid Seeker. I am glad I have this figure, but yeah, that's about it for the Elite Seeker. Okay, let's let him fly out of here. Bringing the Ground Trooper into frame here, or Ground Soldier. This is definitely my favorite figure out of the 2-pack. This is kind of just the generic enemy you'll be fighting for most of the game. There is also a orange and yellow version, I think. Be cool if they did that as well. But this figure here, oh my god, this figure looks great. I really like the look of this figure. This is a very, very nice feeling deluxe class. And I think since they are using a previous mold, this is a pretty good adaptation of the game look. A little bit off for sure, but I still think they did a solid job here. This figure has very nice colors, and that's where I think this kind of does a little bit better than the Elite Seeker. The Elite Seeker had a very dark color scheme, which looked good in robot mode, but I think it kind of started failing in vehicle mode. But here, I think the colors work great in both modes. You get a very nice bright blue, which I really love, just the shades of blue that they're using here, along with that deeper blue. Also helps break up this mold, because for the previous versions of this mold, you had Runamuck and Runabout. They were both solid white and black for the most part. It's just a little bit too much of the same color. I think that's where this figure does a better use of this mold than the original 2 it was intended for. That darker blue really helps a lot. Very nice mechanical detailing here as well on the thighs, legs, and the arms. Very great painting and sculpting. This figure does have one retooled part, that being the head, which looks very close to the game. I love how well the red eye is painted. Very nice visor. Generally, I think this is probably the better figure out of the 2-pack. It is also one that I haven't handled before, so I probably have a little bit of a recency bias to this mold. There are a couple problems with it that I would like to go over. First off, it's mainly just the legs here. The back of the legs are really hollow, which usually I don't have a problem with, but here it's a little gross looking. And this faux wheel here, I'm pretty sure this was meant to be accurate to the original Battle Charger toy. which works for Run Amok and Runabout, but I really just wish they had removed this panel because it looks really ugly. But besides that, I really don't have too many complaints for this figure. Some wrist swivels would have been nice. As for articulation, here there is a panel at the head so you can fake a look down. You do also get a ball joint at the head here, which can look up about that much, and of course you get a swivel out of that. You do have hot rod shoulders, unfortunately, so the shoulders do kind of bump up at the head. You do get a nice swivel there, which is prohibited a little bit by this backpack. You do get a bicep swivel here along with a single jointed elbow, and the wrist can flip in for the transformation, but you do not get a wrist swivel there. You do get a nice waist swivel there. That's something the Elite Seeker doesn't even have. A good kick out. You can do the splits way better than the other figure as well, and a pretty good knee bend. But you do have the transformation joint, which you can click and fake a double knee bend there. And because of how hollow the back of the leg is, you can get a lot of bend out of that. Very nice ankle pivot as well. So you can get really good poses with this figure. Very solid. I think he's just, he fills in the role he needs to of being just a nice Decepticon ground soldier. Figure only comes with this one accessory, being this sweet blade. It's just done in a nice silver black handle. It's got a 5mm port on the side of it as well. So if you wanted to, you could tab it into the side of the arm. Get a there we go. Get a Bayverse Prime thing going there, or you can do weapon storage on the back. Doesn't look very good, but if you don't want him holding it, you can just put it on the back, I guess. Good sword. He has it in the games. Looks pretty good. I think this is a very good, solid, fun deluxe. I love the rich blues that are used here, but once again, falls into that pit of not having any cell shading for a game that was well renowned for its cell shading. However, I don't think it's as bad here as it was with the Elite Seeker, because now we don't have the problem of dull colors at the very least. There's still very bright colors here, so Devastation's bright graphics are still somewhat carried on through this figure. Cell shading still would have been nice. Bringing the figure into vehicle mode, he turns into a very nice little blue car. I do like the cell shaded window up front, although it would have been nice if these additional windows were cell shaded as well, and if this back window was even painted. This figure does have a little bit of trouble holding together for me. This roof part does not like tabbing in. I don't know what it is. Figure does roll very well. A lot better than most deluxes, if I'm being real. This figure does also have much better color breakup than the Seeker. You kind of just get a sea of gray with a touch of black up front. This figure definitely, just with the brighter colors, the color breakup is a lot better. Now, for an individual rating for the Ground Trooper, I'd say he's a very solid deluxe class figure. Once again, he does miss out on the cell shading. I do love the look of this figure. Very nice colors once again. Good articulation for the most part. Pretty alright accessory. So overall, compared to the Elite Seeker, I'd say this guy is definitely a solid 8 out of 10. Really good deluxe figure. Love him a lot. Bringing the figures back into their robot modes for some final thoughts and size comparisons. Here they are with the A-level Deluxe Optimus Prime, also from Transformers Devastation. He doesn't really scale with them or fit in with them aesthetic-wise. Here they are next to some better scaled Optimus Primes, being the Netflix Optimus Prime and the Siege 35th Anniversary cel-shaded Optimus Prime. Here they are next to my other Seekers with 86 Starscream along with G2 Ramjet and Cloud Cover. And finally, since I used a combiner for size comparison in the last video, here they are next to a partially completed SS86 Devastator. Oh my god. So you can only really see Scrapper. Okay, as for my final thoughts on this 2-pack and a final rating, I think both of these are solid figures. The Ground Soldier definitely is a lot better than the Elite Seeker. I'm just glad we have good Transformers 2-packs back. Target's really the only place that does Transformers multi-packs anymore, so it is nice that we're getting these Target exclusive packs that aren't just dead Autobots. This is a much more fun 2-pack. Definitely a solid pickup if you can find it. I'd say maybe wait a little bit until this goes on clearance, but if you really were a big fan of Devastation, I recommend this. So overall, for a good 2-pack rating, I'd say this is a good 8 out of 10. Very solid pickup. I enjoy these two figures a lot. Anyways, thank you guys for watching today's video. At the time of this upload, I should have a live stream scheduled or happening very soon. Gartic Fun Friday. Show up to that if you want. Make sure you join the Discord and subscribe to the channel. Follow my Twitter. Really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. That's about it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.